Hello, friends. Hello. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Craft Your Joy Live. Holy smokes, friends, it's hot. I'm pretty sure no matter where you live and where you're coming in from, Heather's popping in from the UK. First time. Hello, Heather. It's hot. It is hot outside, friends. It's summer, so, it's going to be hot. But we're all experiencing a little bit of a heat dome over the next few days. I think it's here. I'm in Maryland. It started on Sunday. So hello, friends. Okay, I am live today, a different time than normal, a different day than normal. Normally, I'm live on Thursdays. For the next couple weeks, I'm going to be either on Tuesday or Wednesday for the summer because I'm taking a class that happens from 12 to 1:30 on Thursdays online. So anywho, all right, friends, I see friends popping in. We are going to have some fun today. We are going to do two techniques. We're going to do some washy watercolor techniques, and then we're going to stencil on top of that washy watercolor technique to create some deep, colorful card making. That's what we're doing today. Deep, colorful card making. And I hope it works. So we'll see. Okay. Hello. Okay. I see lots of friends popping in. So let's just do a quick hey. Hey, Judith. Hello, Heather from the UK joining us for the first time. Hi, Gloria. Carol. Hello, Central Illinois. Yeah, it's hot. It's hot there too. Hello. Oh, Rhonda from her sweet mother-in-law's house in Florida. My aunt and uncle live in Florida. They're in Melbourne Beach. I was just on the phone with her yesterday. Hi. Oh, yep. 7 Tracy Sevens from the UK too. Hello, Dawn. Hello. She made it. Hello, Dawn. It's good to see you. Dawn's on the West Coast, so it's early over there. And maybe not as hot as it is here. Okay, friends, let's dive in. Like I said, today we're going to do some washy watercolor with my brand new stamp set with Gina K Designs called Note of Encouragement. We're going to use the stamp set and the stencil. We're going to work towards deep, colorful card making, but I still feel like it's kind of a minimalistic way. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Gina K inks, of course, and Davinci watercolor paints for the month of July, which I know it's not the month of July yet, but it will be next week. For the month of July, I'm going to be using Davinci paints and talking about them because I like them and they're fun and we're going to use them. So, hello. I see more people popping in. Oh, Susan just said there's a cool front coming in. Okay, good. To you means it's coming to us then. Hi, Diane, new to watching you and can't wait to dive in. We've got new friends with us today. I'm super excited. Okay, let's dive in. Let's go head to the overhead camera. I'm going to pop my head in. Friends, here is, I think I need to move over a little bit, or maybe I don't. Maybe I do. Okay, here's the card that we're going to make today, and we're going to play with these new sequins. I've got a bunch of things I want to play with today. These are some new sequins from Gina K. They're called Pastel Dots, and I thought they were just brilliant with this color palette that I chose for today's card. Okay, really simple. All of the supplies are linked down below in the description. I did manage to get that done yesterday before we went live. Time to move this out of the way. Holy smokes, let's move that. And let's pull in the stamp set that I'm going to be working with. Let me know if the color looks okay. I have a very, very bright area, very, very bright studio space, so I always have to counteract some of that brightness with light. But here is the stamp set. It's called Note of Encouragement. And here is the coordinating coloring stencil. And then here is also, hello, Sari from Utah. And here is the coordinating die set. Okay. Friends, I know I mentioned this last week on the tutorial, the Tuesday release, that you can grab the free card idea sheet and the stencil guide. You can grab it on my website at indigojadeart.com in freebies section. I also think I have it listed down below in the description, or if you're in the Gina K group, you can grab it in the files section. So let's go ahead and tuck that away. Look at these little pastel dots. I had them everywhere yesterday. The static, I guess, in the air, I don't know if that's a thing right now, but the static was everywhere and it was just sticking to me. So here's the stamp set, note of encouragement. We're going to do some washy watercoloring with it. As you can see, my stamp set is well loved with Obsidian ink already, but we're going to be focusing on doing some washy watercolor and doing some coloring stencil techniques over top. So I'm going to be doing a mashup of using watercolor paint and Gina K inks. Okay. Yay. This is one of my favorite techniques. Susan just asked a question. I'm curious how many dies there should be. I'm not sure I have all the ones that came with it. Okay. Susan, I will, when we get a little bit further along, I'll just count these out. Well, let's just count them out now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Looks like 13 dies. I'm pretty sure that if you got this stamp set, because I did the dies, and if my camera, sometimes my face pops in and out on my camera. I'm still, many of you know, I've renovated my space and I have cords and tech, and my husband has done an amazing job of helping me get things realigned. But I have a little power issue. So sometimes my camera shuts out. So Susan, there is a coordinating die for every stamp except for this one and this one in the set. So I hope that helps. Okay, good. You just said you got 12. Oh, Lynn got hers yesterday. Yay, Heather, thank you for the sweet words. What an amazing stamp set. So, all right, I digress. Let's get going. All right. Oh, that's a great idea. Gloria just shared, I put my dies over the stamp set to check my dies. That's a fantastic idea. I should do that. I really should do that. I have a habit of losing dies. Even though I put them on this magnetic board, sometimes they get like hooked to things, and then I find dies like on the bottom of my Misty and other places that have magnets, and then I don't know where they go. So I'm sure you all can relate. All right, let's dive in. Okay, let's move our stencil over here. Now, friends, if you're new to the channel, and a couple of you are new to the channel, we do watercolor on this channel quite a bit, or watercolor techniques with different mediums. I usually list all the supplies linked down below in the description. My favorite watercolor paper that I'm using today for the card base and for the card front is Strathmore Ready Cut Watercolor. It's 100% cotton. I love it. It's really reasonably priced. It's already cut to a 5x7, which makes it kind of easy. And it's really, really good with taking lots of water and layers of watercolor and ink because it's 100% cotton. And I love it. Okay. Now, let's dive in. Let's see if we need to move in a little bit closer. Yeah, let's move in a little bit closer. Okay. I already pre-stamped some of my images. Jennifer, I have 2 dies hanging out on my magnet till I find where they belong. Friend, I can relate. I can relate. I have this thing. It's a magnet that sticks to this glass board, which has magnetized. And so if I find things like dies, I throw it in here and it'll stay in here at least. And then I try to figure out where it goes. Or not, or it just stays in there. Okay. I pre-stamped our scene, our card scene, on this watercolor paper so that we could just dive right in to the watercolor. So I used Obsidian, and you can see when you're stamping, I want to make a really good point of this. I've talked about this before, but when you're stamping for watercolor or water-based mediums that you plan to use for your card projects, you need to use an ink that is going to be waterproof and is going to be able to accept that water without bleeding. I, of course, like Gina K, Amalgam. The struggle is real, Jennifer, you're right. Amalgam ink. I use Obsidian most of the time or jet black. But when I'm working on watercolor paper, again, this is 100% cotton watercolor paper. When I'm working on watercolor paper, I often will bring out the Misty in order to get a much deeper impression or solid impression. And you can see that I didn't get such a super solid impression right here. But guess what? I'm not super worried about it because in the end, I'm going to come in with a marker and just touch it up, which is what I did here. And no one was the wiser except for you because I just told you. Okay, friends, if you have questions along the way, just like every week, just pop question in the chat. Chat's over here. So if you see me looking over here, chat's over here. Feel free to chat. That's what we're here for. We're here to have some fun, talk about watercolor, and try some different techniques that you might not have tried before. All right, let's get on to the paint. Davinci paints. Now, I know Dawn Brenner's here in the chat. She likes Davinci paints. I know that she uses them. Now, on this channel, I also dive into different brands of paint, and mainly because I talk about the paints that I love and that I use. And I always introduce paints in conjunction with my Gina K inks, and often I use my Gina K inks as paint. But this is the portable painter. This is just one of my travel kits, I guess you could say, of Davinci paint. I have a lot of Davinci paint, and I have it in a lot of different places. But I just grabbed this one really quick because it had a couple of the colors that I wanted to use. And all month long in July, I'm going to be talking about Davinci. So let's have some fun with it. Okay, 7 Tracy 7 question. Do you ever heat emboss on the watercolor card? It's something I'm struggling with on cold press. Okay, excellent question. Yes, I do. Here's what you need to do. Because the 100% cotton or any kind of cold press paper or any kind of watercolor paper, even a hot press paper, it's a whole intention. Its whole thing is to be able to accept water. So when we put ink on it, embossing ink, which is sticky tacky, you need to do that impression a couple times and get a good amount of that heat embossing ink on it. That's why I think the Misty or some form of a stamp positioner, whatever you have, is super, super helpful for that whenever you're doing embossing on that kind of card. I hope that helps. Oh, Dawn just popped in. I do love Davinci. Daniel Smith is my other favorite. Yes. Okay. So Daniel Smith, I used Daniel Smith last week or the week before. So friends, it's one of my favorites too. Davinci is a really affordable artist grade paint. They are here in the US out of California. And I absolutely love them. Now, this portable painter is super, super fun. This is a little travel kit. It's really fun. You can put water in it. What I think is kind of neat when I use it on a table is that you can just kind of move it around. I've talked about the portable painter on this channel before. If anyone is like super, super interested in like me doing a video like on my favorite supplies, let me know in the chat. I'd love to do that for the next paint and chat. Also, an ambulance is going by, so you never know what you're gonna get. Okay, Zan, hey you all. Oh, the Thunder Championship Parade. Oh boy. Yes, I heard about that. Jamadi, hi from British Columbia, Rocky Mountains. Yay! I love it that we are starting to get more and more people I need to bring my mouse back in so I can kind of see what's going on and see who's here right now. We're starting to get more and more people from like all over, which is really kind of exciting. It's really exciting to me. All right, let me take this off because I'm not going to be using these cups right now. But what I really, really like about the portable painter, A, it's great for travel. B, it's like when it's put together, it's like the size of a phone. You know, it's really, really nice. And you can get a lot of paint in here. So we're going to do a technique today, and it sits nice and flat on my desk here. I'm going to be bringing it in and out because I really want to have a nice tight frame on this so that you can see what I'm up to. Cool. All right, let's do it. All right, we are going to do wet into wet technique today. So the whole purpose of today's card tutorial is to mash up techniques, watercolor and stencil coloring, to create and get deep, deep, colorful cards. Okay. So, and it's just fun. And we just love to do watercolor because it's fun. All right, so we're going to start in with the wet into wet technique. And what I'm going to do is I'm wetting the entire paper. I'm just wetting my whole project. And you can see that color, that the obsidian is not moving. See how it's not moving? Love it. All right, we're going to use this color Sea Glass. We're going to be using this color right here, which is Davinci Yellow. Love it. It's really like a Hansa Yellow deep. And then we're also going to be using maybe Permanent Rose or Red Rose Deep. I love these colors. And we're going to just do some wet into wet. So if this is your first time with watercoloring, wet into wet. You wet the paper, brush is wet, paper's wet. I'm going to dip my brush into Sea Glass. And the reason why I chose these colors is because I'm going to show you their companion colors in Gina K Inks. No, kitty. Kitty's trying to get to us. We're also going to be doing, oh, that's a lot of color. So see, I just kind of went all in. Now, tap, 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 tapping this color out. I'm just taking this Sea Glass color and I'm just dancing my brush around. And I know that this might feel a little bit out of control. Not really worried about it. Because watercolor, especially when we're doing these wet into wet techniques, watercolor will fade back when it dries. So I'm cool with it. We're just going to ride with it. All right, we've got a little bit of this Davinci Yellow. I'm going to drop a little droplet right there and there. Clean off my brush and dance my brush around wet into wet. Brush is wet, paper's wet. You can see a little bit of that blue is coming in and mixing with that yellow and kind of giving us a little bit of green. That's okay. If you don't like that and you want to pull some of it away, just take your clean brush. See how I'm just kind of mopping it up a little? Super fun. Also, while we're doing these, the card today, if you have any questions about anything related to watercolor, feel free to ask. I am using today a Princeton Heritage number 6 round. I kind of wish I would have brought in probably 8 or 10. I would have preferred a little bit of a bigger one, but that's okay. I really, really like the Princeton Heritage brushes. They have a really nice snapback to them, but they do hold a lot of water. So I'm really been digging them lately. The whole Princeton, I like a lot of their brushes. If you're a part of my free community in the Craft Your Joy Lab, last month I focused on brushes and did a whole free tutorial in the free community just on brushes. And we talked about them. So super, super fun. And I'll talk a little bit more about the free community in a bit. Okay, now I've got a lot of blue up here. I don't want up here because I want to put some other colors. So see how I'm just going to mop it away? And just kind of force it up and out. Say, get up and out there. Now I'm going to come in with a little bit, oh, I am going to use some green. I've got sap green here. I've got a green called Denise's green. Davinci Paint does a lot of collaborations with watercolor artists, and one of their collaborations is with Denise Soden. She's a YouTuber and an animal. She paints a lot of beautiful animals, and she has some curated paints with them. So probably more information than you wanted to know. I'm going to pick up some sap green, and while everything's still wet, I'm just going to drop a little bit of that sap green in a couple of the leafery areas. And see how it's just kind of little dots? No pressure, little dots. I'm going to take my brush, wet, and I'm just going to tap, 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 dance my brush around, and just let it do its thing. Washy watercolor is like one of my favorite techniques because it's very freeing, and it enables us to get like some base color down. We get that full-on watercolor feel without a whole lot of pressure. So it's really fun, especially if we're just starting out. I've got a lot of water here. I'm just gonna see how the watercolor will only go where the water is, and I had a nice little pool of it there. But I wanted to drop a little bit more color in there. Davinci is one of those paints that does whoosh a little bit when it hits water. And by whooshing, I mean when I drop it into water, see how you see the little spiders? So it is a really energetic paint. It gets a lot of energy behind it. It moves where the water is, and I dig it. Now I'm going to pull some of it out, and I want to add a little bit of water back. I mean, a little bit of my Hansa yellow back in here. Digging it. Loving it. All right, let's take a little bit of that color that's right there and just kind of pop it up. So pop in the chat if you've done well, friends, if you've been around here a while, you know washy watercolor is kind of a thing, and I do it a lot. And we do these kinds of techniques a lot. But let me know in the chat if you've not done this before and you're kind of nervous. I'm going to pick up a little bit of this red rose and just put a few little drops in some of these little, I call them like little bluebell flowers, but they're really just kind of cute little like flowers. Loving it. Friends, I know that I've been talking the last couple weeks about my garden. First of all, it's really hot today, and I know I've said that. I said that at the beginning. It's hot pretty much everywhere in the U.S. right now, Midwest to East Coast. And my garden is starting to finally like flourish. There's lots, I'm having a lot of issues with some of my vegetables not progressing because of all the rains we had. But I'm just doing a little tap, 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 just adding a little bit more color. Tap, tap, tap. Now, but the flowers and the pollinators, I have so many bees out there. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. Okay, Heather just shared, I've never done this before and it looks fun. Jennifer, I've never tried it. Excited to give it a go. Yay! Okay, now, it looks like there's a lot of color here, and there kind of is. But what we're going to do is I'm going to dry this, and we're going to see how much this value of this color, all these colors that I painted, dries back. Mary just said I played with it. I need a little more practice. So the reason why I like to share washy watercolor is because the barrier to entry for washy watercolor is very simple. Very, very simple. Water on your stamped image, throw down some watercolor, just drop it in a couple places, and then we've got that beautiful watercolor-esque kind of feel to it. So you can really kind of just start with this technique and work your way up. There's something going on out front. So let's go ahead and heat. I'm going to just take my heat tool and dry this. Oh, man. So see how I'm going to turn it? You can see it's wet. So let's dry it. Okay. Okay. Now, you can see how much, ooh, it's a little bit wet here. I really want this completely dry. Hot. Okay. Now, yes. So you can see now that washy watercolor technique that we did, it felt like when we were painting, everything was kind of chroma, like super, super intense color. But you can see as I've dried back, those values of those colors really become like super washy. And we've got this watercolor-esque, very ethereal kind of look to it. Now, and that's what makes this kind of fun to compare, to bring in our, we could do two things. We could go in and add more watercolor, or we can do what I'm going to share is go in and add our stencil to add some color to the areas, just a few areas, to just kind of jack up some of that luminosity. Okay, Gloria just shared, I love the design of this card. So I do want to share something about the stamp set, because we really didn't get to talk about this that much last week. But if many of you are not new to my stamp sets, all of the stamp sets in my collection, and my head just popped out, it'll pop back in a minute. All of the stamp sets in my collection are all in proportion to each other. So what that means is you don't need them all they all can coordinate with each other, and you can mix and match and mash them up because they're all like in the same proportion to each other. But when I'm designing, I'm getting ready to sneeze, excuse me. When I'm designing stamp sets, I always have what I call like a hero image, which is like the main image, and then supporting images that have intentional spots where they fit with the hero image. They work alone, but then they can also be pulled together into a stamped composition that is very, very pleasing to the eye, that also kind of feels like a painting, right? Because we're doing a lot of painting on this channel. So I wanted to share that with you. If that is the first time you've heard that, that's like the intention behind all of the illustrations that I do for Gina K Designs. I'm always thinking about how all these pieces kind of fit together. It's nerdy, I know. Okay, now I think I gotta grab a few things. I do, because I left my Misty. Let me grab the Misty, because we're gonna need it. And I need some tape. Holy smokes, I forgot the tape. Okay, now you don't really need the Misty to use the stencil, but I enjoy using the Misty with this this tacky thing from the sticky mat, the tacky thing from Gina K Designs. And I have two of them. One has cat hair on it because I'm trying to get that cleaned up. And the second one's got a little bit of boogery stuff on it too, but we're getting there. Sometimes I just don't clean up my things. As you can see, my stencil's kind of dirty, but I'm gonna lay this on here, this sticky mat, so it'll just kind of hold it down. You don't need the Misty. Like, you could just use the sticky mat let's take the Misty out because I'm not really stamping with it. Dan just shared composition is your weakest link. Well, no, it isn't. Not anymore. You're here now. We're going to learn together. Many of you know I'm a graphic designer. I've been a graphic designer and illustrator for 30 years. So composition is my thing. So I'm going to teach you. Okay, so I've got this. Now, I want to go in and I want to add a little bit of color to enhance the watercolor technique that we did. We're going to add color here in our flowers. We're going to work on adding some color in the violin, and I'm also going to do a little bit of color mixing inside that violin. And then we're going to add some color into the leafery pieces. And all we're doing with the stencil and the Gina K inks is deepening and enhancing the color that we've already got here. So the value of the watercolor that I have here is very, very pale, sort of like a skim milk consistency, right? And I've blocked in colors so that I know what I want to stencil in. Zan, you cracked me up. Studied Russian and poli-sci, not a lot of composition in that. That's okay. That's what we're here for. We're here for a summer of fun. All right, I'm going to turn this around. Here are my two flowers. Oh, I see people. Another SoCal colorist Della. Hello. Hello from San Diego. I've seen you on Gina's releases. Yay. She's not tried the, you haven't tried the loose watercoloring? Great. You're on the right channel. All right, here we go. Let's dive in. Now, I'm using the little flower, so I'm going to line her up. And the reason why I like using this sticky mat, if I didn't have the sticky mat, friends, I would just tape this down. But what I like is that I can get that stencil just kind of stick so that I don't have to use a lot of tape. And friends, I'm so excited. I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to bring these in. I'm obsessed with these blending, oh my gosh, these little blenders from Gina K. So obsessed that I ended up buying more because I think that this is like my new habit with the stencils is using these. So let's grab the yellow one. Jennifer, quick question. I see some tape down there. I see some people tape down their watercolor. Have I tried it? Yes. So one of the reasons why I didn't tape my watercolor paper down is because I'm a lefty. I see this moved. I need to kind of move this back. I'm a lefty, as you can see. So when I'm watercoloring, I like to move my paper around, especially like to do different techniques. And when I'm teaching or when I'm on YouTube, I like to be able to move it around also so that you can see what I'm doing. So that's one of the reasons why I don't tape it down. But when I'm painting by myself, I do tape it down. Okay, I've got Wild Dandelion. Love it. Wild Dandelion is a direct coordinating color for Hansa Yellow Light, or in this case, Davinci Yellow. This warm, warm yellow, and I absolutely love it. So I'm just going to tap, tap, tap on the Wild Dandelion, and then I'm just going to apply some color right to the center of this flower and just kind of jack up the luminosity of that flower. You're welcome. Now I'm going to move this over here, and I'm only with the flower focusing on the centers. And remember, the whole intention of this technique today was A, we've got the stencil, B, we wanted to do some fun watercolor. Does Jennifer mean on a hardboard that you can move? Jennifer, if you want to answer that in the chat, I'm pretty sure that's what she meant. I'm just going to move this stencil. Hello, Paula from the Netherlands. And I'm just going to add a little bit of the color to this center. The reason why I really, really like these brushes is that look how short they are and dense. And I feel like for my I'm so super heavy-handed with blending brushes and blending color that these are perfect for that. See how I choke up on the very, very front of this, and I'm just kind of going down in there and adding that color and getting that a little bit deeper. Love that. Where I'm using other blending brushes, I'm so heavy-handed. I go like I go in, and I think that's the left-hander in me just being super heavy-handed. I go in hot and heavy, and then I end up getting like brush marks, where these brushes are so the bristles are really, really firm, and they're so short that I feel like they were made for me, even though they're not. Okay, now for the stencil for the violin, I have the outer part, which is this part right here, and I have like the inner part. Now what I want to do is I want to drop this inner part in right here, and I'm going to show you, we did some watercoloring with sea glass, and now I'm going to add a little bit of wild dandelion to the sea glass. Oops, let's just get a little color here. Some wild dandelion. I'm going to come down here and just do a little bit up here and just kind of go in and add using just the edge, and see how I feel like I don't get these weird little brush marks, but I'm able to kind of go in really like firm and get some color. And I love that. So we used this part of the stencil as a mask, right? Or stenciling in just the inner part here, and blending a little bit of that wild dandelion over top of the sea glass paint. And we did some color mixing on the paper. Now, if you don't have paint, look at what you could do this exact technique with these two colors: wild dandelion, turquoise sea, or any kind of turquoise blue color that you might have in your stash, distress inks, any kind of ink that you have, and wild dandelion. Love this color combination. But when you mix these two together, you get a little bit of a green, like a really, really bright Viridian kind of green. Sort of almost like a phthalo with a little more yellow in it. I feel myself nerding out a little bit about color. Friends that are new, this is what happens. Like I start to get into it and start to like nerd out a little bit. And sometimes like the art supply chatter becomes a lot. You can ask any of our friends who are with us right now, they'll tell you. So you may, friends that are new, you may notice that I don't like really super focus on the anatomy of making the card, like cut this, cut that. I'm really, really honed in and focused on all these wild techniques that we can try. Okay, now I want to come in and I love the sea glass in the violin, and I think it's just absolutely beautiful and ethereal and just pretty. But the whole point of today was to figure out how we can jack up some of the luminosity for deep, deep, colorful card making. So I'm going to lay this part of the stencil over top. And then I'm just going to, just tack it down. If you don't have enough room, and friends, like I'm not super specific about like the different techniques and the tools and what you use. I am more of a use what you have, but I do love this sticky mat. I'm in love with it because everything just kind of helps me out a little bit. All right, now I've got another one of the brushes, and I'm going to use Turquoise Sea because Turquoise Sea is a really nice match for this sea glass color. This turquoise color from Davinci. I absolutely love this color. I'm going to talk more about this in July. Okay, I'm going to come in and Mary, our favorite nerd. I'm going to come in. I want a little bit of intense color, like here, maybe a smidge right there. So see how I can just kind of go in, tap, 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 and just really kind of go at it. Just come in really, really firm with this blending brush because it's like I said, like it was made for me and my like heavy hand. Oh, I love it. So that we can get a little bit of that intensity of color there. Now, there's something I want to share. I talked about how you can use the Gina K inks as watercolor inks as well. I'm going to take this little brush. So right here, I feel like I got a little bit of a hard line. So I'm just going to come in with a little bit of water and see how I'm just kind of feathering it out. Boop, 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 boop. Feathering it out. Just kind of using what's there because we're working on watercolor. Feathering out. Perfect. Love it. All right, now I'm going to come in and start doing, what did I want to do? I want to add a little bit of yellow. Hi, Nan. Need to keep track of when Lisa goes live. So do I. So do I. Friends, the best way to keep track of when Lisa goes live is to get on my email list. If that is not your thing, I totally understand. Believe me. But if you decide to join my email list, the link is down below in the description. I do send an email out and I give you the link and I tell you the time and I usually let everybody know ahead of time. I mostly go live on Thursdays, but for the better part of the summer, I will probably be going live on Tuesdays or Wednesdays because I am taking a class from 12 at noon on Thursdays, like during the lunch hour. And I don't like to rush my lives, and I know I will run over. So, okay, I'm using this part of the stencil. Whoopsie. I did not adhere it down in anywhere. So let's go ahead and just kind of tack that down. And I'm going to come back in with a little bit of yellow. And then where the yellow mixes with some of that sea glass, it's going to be kind of green. And I like it. It's just kind of fun. So we're combining our stenciling with our watercolor that we did. We being me. And you can see like right here, that color mixing right here. Got a little bit of that green and then a little more of that yellow. Love it. Okay. Now, I do want to come back in. Let's just continue on. I've got the top of the violin here. So what makes this technique fun is if you have the stencil and you like to watercolor and you like to stamp, you can mash all of these techniques together to get deep, deep, colorful watercolor techniques. Look at that. I love it. And it just was a lot of fun, right? Instead of painting, using our watercolor paint to paint everything, we're mashing up techniques together. Now I'm going to come in with a little bit of, now on the stencil, we've got that whole piece right here, which still blows me away. That Gina K stencils are so nice. They're super thick. It's always etched in with the name of the stencil and Gina K, which makes it lovely. And I'm just going to go ahead and line this up and then just kind of tack this down. And I'm going to bring in, I've got fresh asparagus here. I think I might have put grass green down in the supply list. We're going to do fresh asparagus and passionate pink. So fresh asparagus is very, very similar to sap green or even this Denise's green, which this green just has a little bit more of black in it. And then our passionate pink probably falls in line between right here, this rose red. Love it. Love it. Total nerd out moment. All right, going to come in with a little bit of the green. Sorry for kind of going over. Normally I have it up top here. We got a lot going on. We got a lot in here. And I'm only going to touch on a few of these pieces of leafery. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. And see how I'm just adding a little bit of leafery, a little bit of intense color in a couple spots. And just using what's here to kind of brush it in. So see how we've got a little bit more contrast. So we have our watercolor sap green and we have a little bit of our darker greens. I think I want to put something right there. So let's just go ahead and apply that back here. And just add a little bit right there. Oh, that might have been too much, Lise. I like it. We're going to go with it. Might have been too much. Like I said, these little brushes, I swear, were made for me and my heavy hand. I'm so stencil challenged. So I know many of you have heard me say this year that Gina asking me to release stencils with my stamp sets was like a big challenge for me. Not in designing them, but in like making my mindset go to, hey, Lisa, you really want to play and practice and have some fun with these coloring stencils. So, okay, now I want to come back in. I'm going to lay this back down. Let's grab a little bit of this pink. Oh, thank you, Dawn, for your sweet words about the stencils. I'm going to lay the stencil back down. Coloring stencils seem to be all the rage, friends. I'm not really an all the rage kind of person, you know, but I am enjoying them. I am enjoying them. But stencils, I'm going to come in with a little bit of this pink, passionate pink, and just hit some of those flowers a little bit. Maybe hit a little bit of those little pieces of leafery right there, and let some of that pink kind of mix in. Eek! I like it. So we have a little bit of the watercolor underneath, and we have a little bit of the stenciled in color, which I think is lovely. Now let's take a peek. Okay, so I'm digging this. We've got that washy watercolor look. We have a little bit more contrast with some more intense color that has been stenciled in. I want to go back in and I want to add a little, I'm going to play a little bit with these flowers. I think the flowers are nice, but I really think that they need a little bit more. They need a little bit more. And I'm going to come in with, oops, what happened? Sorry about that. Let's figure out what happened. Let's come back to this camera. Okay. And we're back. All right. Sorry, friends. Had a little bit of a techie issue. Like a little power blip, which was weird, but it happens. So hang in with me for just a second, and then we'll see what's going on with my main camera. All right, I'm going to bring this back so that you can see it. So my down camera is working really, really well, but for some reason my main camera popped out. So let's just try to figure that out. See if we can bring it back. Well, that's going to be upsetting if we can't bring that camera back. Very strange. Yeah, that's just weird. We had a little bit of a power blip. So I'm not really sure what's going on, but hang with me. Hang with me. Alrighty. Alrighty. Little bit of a delay. Tech is fun. Tech is fun. All right, so there I am, but it's like, yeah. Okay. We're going to give it a minute and see if it comes back. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is continue on. Continue on, and we'll see what happens with the camera. And we'll go from there. The down camera is perfect. So my up camera just kind of did a little blip, and I'm going to have to figure out why it did a little blip. And I might not be able to figure that out till later. Okay, friends. Let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to add a little bit more of, I want to take a little bit of this orange. So this is vermilion. A nice pretty orange. And I'm going to add a little bit of that Hansa yellow to it. Just, oh, that might not be enough. I kind of want to I want to add a little bit of this color. Do a little color mixing, which is sort of like a sweet mango. That color right there is sort of like a sweet mango. Watch, I'll put a little bit of it right there so that you can see it. I'm going to drop a little bit right here in the middle. And I actually have a little bit too much water on my brush. I really want there to be a little bit less water because I want to just add a pretty intense amount of that color. So when I mean by intense, I mean I want it to be more like a whole milk strength. So let's just add a little bit there and a little bit there, and it looks kind of messy. I'm going to clean off my brush, and I'm just going to feather it out a little bit. Feather it out. I don't want it to be, I'm just tapping. Oh, Jennifer just shared, I can't wait for my set to arrive. I can't wait to see what you all create with it. I really, really love this set. And if you have the set with the piano, I think that came out in February. See, I'm just tapping away some of this color, just feathering it out a little bit. And all I really wanted to do with that is just make it a little intense in the center and just kind of enhance a little bit of what we did with the stencil. Okay, I'm going to close that up because I think we're really, really close to cutting this and putting this on the card. So let's see. Let's see what we got here. Coming across here. And just kind of seeing what we can do with that camera again. See if we can get me back. Maybe not. So that's not fun. All right, friends. Let's go ahead and move on to add a little bit. I'm going to bring back that black. I've got this Copic marker. You could use any marker. And I'm just going to go over the black area of the stamped image that did not really make a good impression. And we'll go from there. And see how I was just able to really bring that color value back with the black. There we go. All right. Yay! Now it's time to just go ahead and cut this. We're going to go ahead and cut this. I've got the Master Layouts die. This is like my favorite Master Layouts die. It's got the little stitching in it. I'm going to bring in the intercut. Let's cover this up so we can avoid getting more stuff on it. Let's bring this in. Oh, I'm bringing in the beast right now. Normally don't do die cutting on camera, but today, because we were doing watercoloring, I did. Okay, I've got my plates. I had to get new plates because I cracked mine. So let's see if I can get this in the camera. I might need to bring this out a little bit so y'all can see it. Here we go. Master Layouts 2. Gloria, I think it might be 2. I did list it down below which one this is in. Oh. I was getting ready to put this on without actually lining up my piece. So let's just kind of move this in screen a little bit so that you can see. Now, my die is a little bit warped. This is that magnetic plate, and I really, really like that. So I'm able to kind of just move this around to position where I want it to be on the composition. And because we've got, let's just talk about this for a minute. Because we have a lot of energy happening here with the leafery, and it's got this whooshy kind of feel to it. It's going to occupy some of this space over here. So I really want, I'm going to kind of narrow in so that our flower is kind of to the edge and that our violin is mostly on the edge here. That's one of those nerdy composition things. Just so we create a little bit of visual interest. All right, let's put this plate down and run this through. Like I said, I don't normally do die cutting on the video, but Dawn just said your mat is so clean. Dawn, the reason why my mat is so clean is because I just got it over the weekend. It just came in. I cracked my other one. It was just past its prime. So I just got a replacement, which is super fun. Thank you, Gloria. She checked my list, and it was Master Layouts 2. That's very good. Friends, my other camera is still not behaving. So I think you're just going to end up getting my hands. Let's dive in. Let's get in here a little tighter because we're going to put this card together. So I have a card base cut out of watercolor paper, and it looks like I need to do a little trim there, but that's okay. We're going to do a little bit of this white on white. So I've got some glue, some Gina K glue, and I'm going to eyeball it. I'm back to, I finally, after the move and all the things, I finally cleaned out my glues and got back into one of these little glue dispensers, which I like. I love them. Keeps the glue kind of thin, a little bit of a thin bead of glue. And the reason why I like to use the wet glue is because for watercolor papers, it's really nice. It helps it stick down really, really well. I'm eyeballing it here, but it also gives me a chance to like move things around a little bit. I also picked up this tiny little T-square, which I love, but I'm more of an eyeball-y like person. But look, you could easily use this to kind of line this up and make sure it's straight. I have T-squares that are like massive from my years in art school and stuff, that this little T-square that Gina came out with, I was like, I gotta have it. So I got it. All right, friends. Got this down here. Loving it. Loving the way it looks. I'm going to trim off that little boogery spot later. Now, let's bring in some of these cute little sequins. I've got Note of Encouragement from the stamp set, already pre-die cut. And look at that die cut. I love that. Now, friends, I feel like we need a drum roll because I have talked a little bit ad nauseum, and I'm so sad that you can't see my face. It's still not working, which I'm so sad that you can't see my face. I've talked about this ad nauseum, how I picked this up from Gina K. These are those tweezers that go in opposite directions, and I've said so many times how challenged I am with these kinds of tweezers. But I'm learning. I wanted to learn how to be better with them for these little gluey-like moments instead of using my fingers. So I I haven't quite mastered the laying it down part yet, but I do love that I can just get some nice glue on it and kind of learn something new with the tweezers. So challenged with those tweezers. But look, I'm doing it. I'm trying new things. I'm trying new things. All right, now here are these really fun sequins. And because all of their colors are really compatible with all of the colors I have here, we're just going to go in and just start putting a bunch of little dots of glue. Boop. Just little dots of glue all around this space. Let's put some here. Hopefully I'll remember where all the dots are, as I just kind of created that, followed that line of the leaf ring, just kind of created that look. Let's come in and just start popping some in. Hopefully. Little pinks. Love it. I love these little pastel dots. They're so cute. They remind me of a carnival or like a little confetti explosion. And because all of the colors we used today were so compatible with it, I just thought it would be fun. Look at how fun that is. All right, let's do a little blue one. Let's do a little bit of a hot pink one. And then up top, let's do another yellow. Let's do a yellow, like right there. And then we kind of finish off the card. So it's got some really fun confetti, sort of like the Sound of Music, right? Okay, friends. Let's see. I'm going to try one more thing to see if I can get the camera to come back. And then, if not, we're going to have to do our farewells without that camera. So that's kind of sad. Might end up not having the right capture card. Nope, it still doesn't seem to want to work. So that's sad. Let's see. Maybe we can get it back. Maybe we can't. I went black, went dark there for a minute. Sorry about that. Okay, well, that was fun. Let's try this. Let's try this. That's not going to work either. Okay. Well, that stinks. Okay, friends, we're probably just going to have to end it. And I'm not going to be able to come back on the camera, which is very disappointing because I don't know what's going on. So, yeah, that's disappointing that that's not going to work. So, okay, friends, I'm just going to sign off and say thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you got had a lot of fun with me, and I hope you got a lot out of today's tutorial. And all of the links are listed down below in the description for the things that I used here. So let's just bring in the other one so you can kind of see the inspiration versus what we landed on, which I think both of them are super cute. I love them. I love both of them. Okay, I will be back next week, and I'm checking really quick. If you're on my email list, that will get sent to you. But next week is the 4th of July. So I will be back on Tuesday, the 1st. I will be back on 1st. We'll open up our whole 4th of July month with a brand new tutorial, and we'll just have some fun together. Okay, friends, it's never lost on me that you've taken the time to join me today. I've ran a little bit over today, and we had a couple little techie issues that I hope I will resolve by next week. So for now, let's just say goodbye. Stay cool, friends, because it is so hot. And I will see you next week. Bye now. Bye, friends.